It is exactly 12 noon on the East Coast. It is 11 a.m. in Nashville, where I'm located, and it's 98 degrees. Welcome. Hopefully, you're in an air-conditioned environment. To this sponsored webinar, part of our services here at E&P, where we ask our marketing partners, I should say, share with us their case studies and what they're doing to help improve or help us become more sustainable, and more important, help us just to have better business going on in the news publishing industry. And a warm greetings, well, I shouldn't say warm, cool greetings. My name is Mike Blinder. I'm publisher of E&P Magazine. And I'm joined today by three amazing, well, I would like to say amazing because I know two of them personally. Jay Horton, president of WEHCO Digital Media. Jay, you and I were just chatting yesterday. And one of the things that bugs me is I think we're maybe within the same, age group. I'm not sure. You just keep looking younger and I keep looking older. But Jay, you've been in this industry just a few years, have you not, sir?
Yeah, a few years, a few decades, something like that.
I was going to say, because we go back to your Scripps days, right? And then,
very much so, yeah.
And of course, you're at the famous WEHCO Media. We'll chat about that in a moment. Lee Batchelet, I consider a close friend, Chief Operating Officer of a media group that gets a lot of attention, CherryRoad Media. Lee, I know that Jay's in Arkansas. Where the heck are you? I keep forgetting. Where are you based out of?
Colorado, sir. Colorado.
Oh, you got some cool weather today. Am I right? You're not part of our East Coast heat sink. Roland Hamilton, a new friend to E&P, Senior Vice President, Sales and Distribution of King Features. An honor to have you on board as well, sir. Thank you, first of all, for being part of this broadcast. And secondly, thank you so much for your support of E&P and our mission here to support the news publishing industry. We really appreciate King Features being a marketing partner. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. And now you're in New York City, am I correct, sir? Am I seeing this beautiful background there, or what?
You are. I'm in New York City, and this is real. This is my office.
We're done. All right, so let's get to work. Before we get, King Features does a myriad of different services. You have, obviously, we are honored to have the King Features cartoons in our 12 noon newsletter we send each day to over 38,000 email subscribers. But today we're going to be focusing on a project at King Features, which is gaining a lot of tractions. And that's puzzles, am I right? Quizzes, puzzles, the things that people expect us to publish, Roland. And I'd like you to do me a favor and give us a cook's tour of what's going on at King Features and why puzzles are so important to you guys, if I may.
Great. Yeah, happy to do that. Did you want me to share my screen or?
Please do. I gave you permission. You should have no problem whatsoever doing so.
Okay, will do.
All right. And by the way, little housekeeping to our audience while we get that screen share set up. We're going to keep our eyes very closely on the chat room. I know you have different options. You can raise your hand at the bottom, that little hand thing, which I don't understand, but I'm sure it works. There's a Q&A section where you can put in a question, we provide an answer, but I prefer it becomes a chat. And if I may be so bold, you have an option when you chat on Zoom. It defaults to just chatting to the panelists and host. We prefer if you chat to everyone. When I mean everyone, I mean the whole group, us up here, pontificating as well as all the attendees, because there could be some dialogue going on in the background and questions being posed. Once again, please load up the chat with any questions. If we say something you don't understand, if you want some more information, if you challenge something you hear, feel free to just bring it up in the chat room. Now, Roland, go ahead and take it away, sir.
Great. And the sharing's working fine.
Good.
Okay, great. All right. Well, what I wanted to do is briefly give you a little bit of context to our conversation today. Taking a little bit of a step back, King Features has been, sort of partner to newspapers for over 100 years. But what you may or may not know is that we're also a part of Hearst Newspapers. I'm in the Hearst newspaper building right now. And that allows us to have access to research, which we're going to talk a little bit in our presentation and in our conversation today, but also to folks within the Hearst newspaper group like Jeff Bergen, our president of community newspapers, Patty Machowski, who's our SVP of content and innovation, and really helps us to be able to empathize with our partners like Jay and like Lee when we're bringing them solutions, and hopefully be more of a consultant to them and really listen to what their needs and challenges are. We understand, some of the challenges, the existential threats posed by AI and social media platforms, and we also understand, and one of the lenses that we look at our products and services through is through importance of the direct relationship with readers and digital visitors and how to build daily habits that drive revenue and ROI. So moving to the digital, which is what we're going to be focused on today, on the left side, you look at some of the challenges, generating new subscribers, driving engagement, driving page views. And then, some of the challenges to that. We're seeing AI taking some of the traffic where it answers questions, even news questions. Search traffic is declining, and social media platforms are keeping the traffic within the platform, making it difficult to push to publishers. And so, as I had mentioned before, we're looking at building more of a direct relationship with audiences. And we feel like we've kind of cracked the code, especially when what we're going to be talking about today, which is puzzles and games. So our research has shown that to build direct traffic to websites, publishers need to develop products that foster daily habits. And a good benchmark that we found through our research is 3 activities per week. And so that's kind of a sweet spot that we look at when we're building our products, and certainly looking at our puzzles and games is, are we able to engage those visitors, readers 3 times a week? Now, taking a bit of a step back, as Mike had mentioned, we have quite a broad array of products and services, comics, columns, puzzles, and games that we've worked, again, for over 100 years with publishers in providing. But today we're going to be talking about digital puzzles. So on the digital puzzle side, our research has shown that really we've captured, somewhat of the zeitgeist of what you see with Wordle, Spelling Bee, King Features. We've been able to capture the interest of our partners with compelling word games like the Joseph and Scheffler crosswords, Sudoku games like Classic Sudoku. And these are one key to our games and puzzles is that they're editorially driven daily games that are basis for all of our digital products as well. And they consistently outperform in the digital environment as they do in print. So as publishers seek to build digital audiences and build readership for the future, our products are not only appealing to the traditional newspaper audience of 55 plus, but increasingly building newer, younger audiences who are seeking to branch out their gameplay from Wordle and Candy Crush, and finding that well-edited crosswords are a way to challenge their skills. So what does the research tell us? We're finding that across our markets, our Puzzle Palace users spend 6 times more per visit with puzzles and games. They're more likely to make frequent visits and more likely to complete a subscription.
Seriously, they're that addicted to I'm not a puzzler, and I got to be. When you say some of those names, they don't hit me as hard. I mean, but this is something that once they start, they just keep coming back for more. Is that what you're saying, Roland?
Yeah, I think that, again, what we had talked about is that we're trying to build these daily habits. And one of the keys of our crossword puzzles and games is that there's daily versions of them. So when you have a user, they keep coming back for the new product and for the new puzzle or game. And so that's one of the things. And as we found in our research, 90% of our puzzle players say they play at least several times a week, and 71% of them play them daily.
That is a sticky audience. Okay, go ahead, sir. I mean, I think this is fascinating. It isn't. We're going to be allowing our audience. We're getting questions already in chat to see this information, and there's a white paper you're going to be allowing our audience to have access to as well. So everyone who registered will be getting a link later today to everything they need. If I may interject that, sir, go ahead.
Yes, great. So we're going to focus in on Puzzle Palace. So it's actually probably better to hear from Jay and Lee on this, but we also have Puzzmo, which is a product that Hearst Newspapers acquired, a guy named Zach Gage, who created some of the most popular games on the Apple platform. And that's a solution for some of the like sort of largest publishers out there, like Weather Channel, for example. But we're going to focus on our newspaper products, which is Puzzle Palace. And what we've done is we've sought to seek a mobile experience and also a desktop experience from 14 of our best traditional newspaper games. And then just as far as some takeaways, and again, as Mike said, we'll share our white paper, providing a diverse array of different games, having new content. It's what I was talking about, Mike. It's this editorially driven content, but new content every day, fresh content, engaging gameplay environment. That's what we've tried to do with Puzzle Palace. And then offering puzzles both in front and behind the paywall. And I think that Jay and Lee are going to be able to speak to that very eloquently about how they navigate the paywall and how they get users in. And then, it doesn't, if a tree falls in the woods, as they say, you've got to really promote this. All right.
Now, we've already had our first question, Roland, and we already have one from Lori. She says, if I have no paywall, if I'm wide open, I can't do puzzles, right? You require those that sign up for the service to have a paywall environment, Roland?
No, they don't. You don't have to have a paywall.
Okay.
It's not required. I think it's up to each individual publisher to be able to decide what's the best way for them to monetize and incentivize what they're trying to incentivize, whether that's subscriptions or if it's just overall engagement and making money off of advertising.
Once again, King Features has been kind enough to share with E&P an amazing white paper that details so much of this data. And something you may not be ignoring as you're trying to build reader revenue and audience. This white paper will be part of the actual landing page. We'll be sending everyone who's on today's broadcast, as well as everyone who's registered and watching this recording or listening to it, one of our channels. This will be available at editor.and publisher.com/kingfeatures. That URL doesn't exist now live, but it will later today. So stand by. Now let me take you into our group here. Jay, you're first. I hope you don't mind. Jay, we're going to talk about WEHCO before we get into how you're puzzling the world and providing puzzles to your audience. Let's first just break down what WEHCO is, how large your organization is. You're kind of famous, and if I may not, I don't know if you're going to mention this, but we did a lot of extensive reporting on first of all, Walter Hussman is a fixture in this industry. He is now, there is an actual award-winning journalism school with the Hussman name on it. He has started a Center for Integrity in News Reporting. If there's one advocate for local news publishing, it's Walter Hussman. But the company's pretty broad now. You're not just newspapers, right? You're cable companies, you've got some broadcast interests, and you've got an extensive digital services array. Am I right, sir?
That's right, except for the broadcast side. That's from a different age, and we have divested of that. So that
cable. Excuse me, I meant, but there's cable interest.
Historically, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and obviously, most people recognize or equate us to the iPad program and what we've done there, and our business model around our 11 daily, near daily publications is really all about growing subscribers, and that doesn't mean we ignore the advertising opportunity, but we structure our strategy around subscription growth and subscriber retention, and we view puzzles as a really key part of that. We love our puzzlers very much, and I can just say that I can kind of open up, talking about what our puzzle subscribers mean to us. Some publishers look at customer lifetime value. They do those calculations to figure out, what is the value of a single subscriber over that lifetime of them being with you. And a large part of how high your valuation is based on one rate. And we have a a pretty significantly high, monthly rate for our subscriptions, and we're not shy about it across all our newspapers. And the second thing is then retention. The higher the retention rate, the more the CLV. And our from our puzzle users, our CLV is $159 higher than it is across our average subscriber across the rest of our products. So it
Treat
makes
me
a
like I'm a 3-year-old.
big difference.
CLV, please.
Customer lifetime value. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean that's just looking at, if you were to add one net, fully paid subscriber to that, what would the value of that be to your whole business? And don't ask me to go too much deeper than that. The folks at Medill helped us, kind of set up these calculations for ourselves, and I'd certainly be happy to connect folks with some of the folks at Medill who helped us put those in place.
But before we go into the puzzles, then, your function is not only to be president of the digital division,
Mhm.
president of the division that sells digital services to all your advertisers, you're also in charge of the digital delivery at all these newspapers to make sure that they have the most effective uh, paid audience, correct? I mean, when you go sit in the boardroom, you're a hero as digital subscribers grow across the WEHCO universe. Am I correct, sir?
That's correct. Yeah, I focus and I have different groups. We have our digital marketing agencies, across 5 states. We've got our newspapers across 4, and really the focus of my group is everything digital. So if it touches digital, we touch it, and we have a consumer revenue marketing group that manages all of our meter strategy and our marketing around digital subscriptions. And they're actively, that includes a small data team that kind of helps us crunch the numbers and make sure that what we're doing is working. And it's a fantastic group. They've led by Brittany Tomcho, our VP of Digital Consumer Revenue. She's been doing a fantastic job for us.
All right, so take us on a tour now. You made a decision to open up the puzzle world as a means to build that lifetime value per customer, right? In other words, to make sure that you're building customer loyalty, but also, God forbid, some revenue from from that side of the equation as well, correct?
Yeah, news is king. There's no arguing with that. And so apologies about the play on King Features their role, but news is really king. And that in terms of customer acquisition, but we work very hard to introduce puzzles to those people, to try because we know the value of that daily habit that Roland talked about. When people get hooked on your puzzles, they come back and they stick around more so than one single headline or one single topic that they're following. The puzzles is really, really sticky.
Oh, give us a tour. Show us how you're implementing. I'm going to let you drive, if I may use that term,
Yeah,
and
sure.
let us see how WECO is deploying these.
Yeah. Let me pop that screen up and let's see. All right, can you see my screen well enough?
We see you fine.
Yeah, and so first of all, you might notice right away, SEO is a consideration for us. So right here in our header, you see we've got puzzles as a top line navigation element that really helps with our SEO, because we do find that, to your point earlier, Mike, that people come to us for puzzles, and they have for a number of years. It's been a traffic driver. You also see on our navigation very clearly featured out, games and puzzles is prominent there. And then if you're on our homepage, as you scroll down, we have an element right here that like talks about all our puzzles and games. So we're very heavily promoting our puzzles and games to people who come to us, and subscribers who come to us. We also send out emails. So when you subscribe in your welcome journey, within the first 5 days of your subscription, you're getting an email saying, "Hey, have you tried our puzzles?" So that's a heavy part of our promotion. But once you get in there and you kind of see we've got lists of all of our different puzzles. And another value that we do with our puzzles is really that we just started doing really in April. For the people who are coming in who we don't know yet, who aren't subscribers, we do offer sort of this freemium model. Now, some of our puzzles are behind a paywall, many are not, but we've tried to start what we call a soft wall. So asking people to give us their email address, when they come and click on a puzzle. So that looks something like this. So you're going to come in and say to progress into the puzzle, so we can start to collect people's email, their phone number, try to get them to opt into our morning newsletter, our SMS. And since April, we've had about 4,500 people submit their email address coming through this method. So, and of that, 75% of those were new to us. So it's been a really strong way to gather first party data and really kind of get things going.
4,500 in just a matter of a couple months of new first party data,
That's right.
which is critical to build. Everybody screams that if we're not building our lists, and all you ask for is email and phone number. That's it. I mean, you don't.
That's the first step, right? In getting to know people, right? And in the back end, we create an Auth0 account for that.
Of
So
course.
that we can start and cookie that, so we can start to see what's going on with the rest of the traffic around.
And let me just repeat that. Just because of the puzzle environment, you built that 4,500. This is not across any other channels.
Correct.
Unbelievable. I mean, now we're getting, and okay, go ahead. So now you've captured that information, and that person gets into an environment.
Yeah, and then obviously come in. What do they like to do? They like to get into their puzzles, and you know what we also started to do here recently to help monetize it is, and we're seeing some good response here, and some of you may recognize this, are these flip inserts. We put those under the puzzles, and the indirect monetization on these is really very good. And so, you know, if folks haven't looked at that or done that, you know, we've added these to all of our puzzles down there. So indirect wise, it's good. We've tried to sell sponsorships as well, you know, and
Well, that's
so,
one of the questions in chat. Michael B., not me. Back in the day, King Features was big player in newspapers with cartoons and features and columns. With some big papers out of business or struggling, can publishers still attract good sponsors for this? So I'm putting you on the line. How hard have you tried to sell a sponsorship for the? I know you're getting all that great first party data. You're getting that customer loyalty. You're building that, you know, that digital subscriber base. But have you sold hard?
yeah, we haven't sold hard. I'm being frank with y'all. We haven't done a very good job of selling hard around this. Well, we put together sort of a package, you know. I should mention before I dive into that again, I touched on it earlier, but we're subscriber centric. So that first and foremost, we're looking at what is the impact to our subscriber base before we ever talk about advertising and sponsorships. And part of that experience is, you know, we know our traditional readership, folks who, you know, a lot of which, thousands of which, tens of thousands of which, you know, view on an iPad. So, and that kind of drives us back to one of the things we included in the sponsorship. Obviously, if you're reading, you know, the e-edition and you're coming through, you know, and you would come through, you know, obviously we promote the puzzles pretty heavily in here. So when you get past, you've got the comics and stuff there, we have these puzzle pages here. You can see here we've got on this page, you know, we've got, you know, the Mansion Theater, they're performing, so that's a sold position that we've got here. But we did just very colorful and these pages, you know, almost 90% of our subscribers are reading us on an e-edition all through the week. Now we still deliver, if you know the story, right, we still deliver print on Sundays. But for the rest of the week, it's all e-edition. And again, we have about 90% of our subscriber base that are using us regularly through the e-edition.
I'm actually, full disclosure, I use the same platform you do for E&P, which is, can we give them a plug or not? Can I press reader? I mean, I just did it.
Sure.
I mean, they're in their advertiser of ours as well, but we selected them because I guess Jay, when I took over EMP, how was it performing for him? I will say again that yes, we proudly print and send a monthly magazine to a good subscriber base, but my digital readership through this platform outperforms it almost 20-1. I mean, it's huge how many people feel comfortable. And you agree, right? On a tablet, this is how they, now I love the way you interfaced. Correct me if I'm wrong, on this page, the one you're showing us now, I can click into some of the digital play, right? This is like a link.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like I click there, you can click right into the puzzle.
It's amazing.
And it shows here. And you'll notice on this page, we took out a lot of the header and all the other stuff on it, because when you come from the app and you're in the iPad, we want the experience to be very tight and very friendly to the screen. So we've kind of stripped away all that to be able to play the game when you're coming in directly from the app.
I got to pause you for a second because Lynn Cole asked the question, Roland. I told you we get asked. Lynn says, I saw the ad that shows on the top of the puzzle. Where the heck is that coming from? Oh, you already answered her. Okay, Roland. The answer is that's a King Features ad. And you say there are certain packages. If I decide I don't want that ad there, Roland, I can have that removed. Is that correct?
That's right. The depending on the publisher and what the publisher's needs are, either there's an ad in there, and it's a ad-driven model plus a subscription model. So the publisher pays a subscription fee, and then also either decides that they want this or doesn't. But this offsets a bit of the cost
Sure.
of the subscription.
So Jay, this is a clean page you're showing us, right? There's not a lot of, like you showed me a puzzle earlier where you had your top headlines to the right.
That's
This
right.
page does not, correct?
This page does not. So this is only accessible if you click through from the app,
Ah,
or the e-edition version of it. So that we recognize that, again, a vast majority of those readers are on mobile devices. And so we have a screen that's optimized, and that a vast majority of those folks coming through either of those products, matter of fact, almost 100% of them are all subscribers already. So
so
we
you just want to give them a clean environment.
just giving them a good experience.
Can you go back to the one where it shows the headlines on the right? Because this is what I have found. I take my I don't know if you can go back to it. I apologize if I'm making this. There you go. The popular stories. We do the same thing, and we have found when we go to our pages with the highest traffic, we get more action on that right rail. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm through your freemium model for the puzzle in the center, and I click on one of those stories and I'm not a subscriber, you can build your subscriber database that way as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's a pretty smart move.
Yeah, we get some play from that. We don't have a ton of conversions that come off of the puzzles in from the new side, but it does help. I think last month we had 12 new conversions come from people who entered in, like say they did a Google search for puzzles, which we rank pretty high in nationally, and they come in directly to the puzzle and then they click on a story. Again, last month 12 conversions. That's not really been the big driver for us. The value has been in getting people who are coming in, getting this to add this to their behavior, add this to their habit. That's what we've seen, for at least for us, as a really strong driver and a big help. Again, we'll take that extra $159 in CLV value on each subscriber that does it all day, all night.
I gotta tell you, it's better than a poke in the eye with a sharp stick.
That's right.
To continue to grow. All right. So, what else do you have? Anything else you need to show us right now? I mean, keep going, or let us know.
I don't think so. I think I clicked on an ad there for blocks, but so the ads work.
That's okay. They're an advertiser, a supporter of VNP as well. We appreciate it.
Very good company
Well,
indeed.
let's swing it over to Lee for a second here. Lee, it was an honor to have you on our program, and you are the Chief Operating Officer for a company we can't stop talking about at ENP, which is CherryRoad Media. Before we get into the puzzling world that you do, CherryRoad was first described with your first acquisitions as the company that was buying newspapers in nowhere. I remember that headline. I don't know if you were with them back then when Jeremy Goldman bought his first 20 papers, but now you are an industry leader, like a couple companies that are out there now that are making acquisitions and seeing the value of scale, correct? As you pick up, how many papers are you at right now, sir? What is your total? Where are you at?
We have 93 papers in 18 states, Mike.
93 in 18
Yes, sir.
states. And you are the largest, I don't know if I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, you are the largest holder of Gannett properties that they have spun off. You have over 50 from the old Gannett world, correct?
We have a good number of Gannett properties, absolutely. But we also have a lot of properties we bought from small independents and smaller chains. And so we really built the base of the business off of some larger Gannett purchases. But since then, we've really focused on buying from other groups. And you might still say we buy papers from nowhere, but I don't like to think of it that way, right? I mean, we're very focused on small communities, small community journalism, lots of rural communities, lots of places where, if someone isn't helping these papers stay alive, they close. I think the figure is 50% of counties in this country today are news deserts, and CherryRoad is working hard to keep these papers open and keep serving these communities in these counties.
It's full disclosure, my first customer when I was in my consulting business teaching people what the internet was in 2002 was Billy Morris. And you have some of the old Morris papers I used to visit. I always ask this question, do you know how many cows a day die in the city of Dodge City, Kansas? Have you ever heard?
I don't know, but it's a good number.
It's 5,000 a day. I
5,000
drive
a day.
into that market and
Yeah.
see the full trucks going in with cattle and then the empty ones coming out. But it's a vibrant little town. If you
Yes, it is.
with some
Yes,
obviously
great history there. Great place to visit, actually.
I picked the Ardmorite to
Mhm.
show our audience, if I may. And I don't know if you wanted to drive or no. There's Dodge City. I picked Dodge City. Do you want to drive at all, or should I just put up the
No,
image?
go ahead. You're welcome to.
All right, so
You've got things pulled up already.
you have your puzzles from King Features only deployed in every one of your markets now. Am I correct, sir?
That's correct, sir. That's correct.
Why? What motivated you? Jeremy's got a technology company. I know you're doing a lot of your stuff in-house. Vendors want to sell you technology and services, but you end up building them at CherryRoad.
Yes.
But you saw value out of the folks at King Features and decided to deploy these. What was your rationale?
Well, it's very similar to what Jay was talking about, and we have an interesting struggle with CherryRoad. Is we've purchased a whole group of very small newspapers in small communities, and to be honest, they're woefully behind on the number of digital subscriptions. And we understand that our future is in growing digital subscriptions. And in order to get people to subscribe, you have to give them value. When they come to your website, they have to find things they want to interact with, whether it's stories or videos or photo galleries or puzzles and games, right? And so we've been very focused on making sure that when a consumer comes to us, they find things that they want to do. They find things that they want to interact with. They find things they want to read. And the more times I get them to click, right, using a soft paywall, using a paywall that gives people the ability to register and get some free clicks, the more reasons I give them to click, the more often I run them into a hard paywall in which they say, geez, I did find value here. Maybe I'm willing to sign up for that digital subscription.
And you're just like Jay there. Your top priority is first and foremost loyal subscribers, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, if I may, I just interviewed Jeremy on my show. I think I have by the way, those of you that don't know Jeremy Goldman, there he is on the Wall Street Journal. But that article came out a few months ago and everybody was buzzing. But then we had recently had him on an interview and a profile. Local journalism is key to your value proposition, similar to Jay, right? News, number one, is king.
That's the only currency we really have in this business, right? Is local content, local information that consumers want. So yeah, that's our focus, and we don't run wire services. We don't put filler in it. We focus on local news, local content, filling our papers and filling our websites with it. Absolutely.
So with a goal in mind of having, again, Jay, that was GLV. Did I have that correctly? No, what is the acronym this old man forgot that you were talking?
CLV.
Lifetime value.
Customer lifetime value.
Okay, CLV. So you have the same goal as well. I mean, you want the customer experience to be robust. You want them to know. Now, we were just doing some research at ENP about our headlines and using some AI tools. It turns out that even if they don't click into the headline, when they see those headlines that you're covering the local environment next to those puzzles, you're also showing them the value you have to the community as well as you bring them in. So are you like Jay? Do they have to go through your paywall to get to your puzzles, or do you?
No, but they have to give us their email address and their name, right? Again, like Jay, our objective is to collect first party data and then be able to interact with that data, market to those consumers, bring them in as subscribers. But we first have to get them to come to us, right? And so, we're finding every way we can to interact with the consumer. Once we get them there, we give them the chance to access some of that content. And then our objective is to get them to run into that paywall, so then we can create a compelling reason why they should subscribe with us. And to be honest, it's worked greatly. I mean, a little over a year ago, we were running a churn rate on our circulation that I don't even want to talk about. And today we've driven that number down to, most months less than 5% on an annualized basis. And we've done it through better digital interactions. We're driving, in our little tiny papers, again, we're running little tiny papers in little tiny communities, and we're running well over 2,000 free access subscriptions, free access signups, which gives us an incredible database of first-party data which to market to. And we've made a significant turn. Like I said, we've reduced our churn and our circulation by 3/4, and we've been able to generate significant digital growth. My digital growth today on a subscriber base is running over 50% annualized, and that's through good digital interactions, providing content and things like puzzles that consumers find valuable, and then making sure we market to those folks once we've got their information.
Jeremy has a commitment to these markets. There's no question. But you're a business. I actually asked Jeremy on my show, I'm saying, my God, because he still reports to a family, right? There's a board.
Absolutely.
There's a company behind CherryRoad. And I said, they're giving you a lot of leeway. He said, yeah, but it's a business. I mean, I'm asked about P&L. Lee, if you were told you got to cut back, how high on the list of items you would take off your expenses is the King Features puzzles that you invest in? I mean, you've been touting it. I mean, that must be something that you keep your hands on and look at other cost savings.
It's not something we would give up. It's critical to our digital strategy. It's critical to our newsletter strategy. We feature the King Features puzzles in every newsletter we send out. It's critical to the concept of getting clicks, getting people to interact on our website in multiple manners, and getting them to the point where they see value and want to join us on a subscription basis.
Jay, do you echo that? I mean, I know I'm asking a hard question, but you're a business too. I know that Walter has a tremendous investment of a family history of over a century in the industry, but you're a business. I'm sure there's P&L discussions constantly when you're sitting in the boardroom. This has got to be something that you're going to hold tightly onto. Am I correct, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. This is impacting the business in a very positive way.
All right, so there's your pull quotes there, Roland. You can pay them the $20. I pulled it out of them. How hard is implementation, Roland? And maybe Jay and Lee can help. I mean, if someone right now wants to pull the trigger and says, "Okay, I've heard this. I want to sit down with the guys at King Features, see what puzzles you've got, what options can I add to create that lifetime value for my digital presence online." How hard is it to throw the switch? I mean, Jay, how long did this implementation take? Did you have to rebuild your entire content management system? He said very, very sarcastically.
Right. Yeah, I can add to this. I mean, we've had implementations with things that take, a year and a half. I think our first puzzle was up in 45 minutes. So, obviously, not a difficult thing to do. With our CMS, it supports, open pages, and we just take our open page template, or it doesn't have an article kind of coded into it, something that we use to hard code different designs into. We pop the puzzle code in there and put it on dev, test it, play a little bit, have some fun, and then put it live. So it was a very simple thing. It took us longer to think about, and we kind of left it undone, was getting kind of what our thoughts were around the soft wall and how we would test that, how we would grow our email addresses through it. And we're still considering what can we do. We have spent a lot of time thinking about what can we do in this freemium model, where we can start to offer a puzzles only subscription at a lower price point, to start to see if some of those folks who come to us from out of market, who we believe are very price sensitive because they're not really consuming a lot of our news, is there a price point we can start testing with them to see if we can get some additional value out of them. I didn't mention it earlier, but roughly 41% of our puzzle traffic comes from out of market.
There's something to monetize there. I don't know what it is yet, but that's a good problem to have. There is something to monetize there. Lee, similar question. Implementation. Now you are the content management system, correct? You're on it.
We have a partner we use for content management, but I have to admit, I'm at an advantage. I have a tech company behind CherryRoad Media, right? So I got good tech people, but we didn't need good tech people to do this. This is very simple. King Features knows how to make it easy, and yeah, I would say implementation is not a challenge. It's just not a challenge. Absolutely.
All right, so I'm going to stay. Roland, stick around. We're not done with you. I know I've been ignoring you, but please.
No, please. These guys are very articulate.
They're saying, okay, Jay, do me a favor. If someone's sitting on the fence right now saying, oh, "Come on, I have enough problems right now meeting my bottom line. I believe in paying my journalists as much as I can. I'm cost cutting." Jay, if they're sitting on the fence, what advice do you give a publisher, a digital manager, audience development president, whoever? What advice do you give them about considering these forms of customer loyalty tools?
Well, I mean, if you're a subscription focused media entity, like if you haven't heard me already, right, this is a no-brainer. You should be doing it. You should be trying to get as many puzzles in front of your subscribers as possible. See which ones resonate, and then remind them of it when they don't show up. Keep them coming back. That's just a no-brainer. If you're looking at our model and saying, "Well, I'm an advertising model," you all seem to have a little trouble there. We haven't really tried hard enough. There is an opportunity there. As I mentioned, we have thousands of people coming to use these puzzles on a monthly basis. The audience for us, it skews. It's close to 60% 55 plus. But there are some younger demos for us in there too, which is attractive. But so we've looked at again, kind of shows, entertainment, other some categories that we've talked about. We just haven't made put enough effort into getting those things sold across our market. So there is an opportunity there from the advertising side, certainly as well. So putting your packages together, I see a question in chat about that. How much promotion are you going to bundle into the puzzles where you're including a sponsor logo, the replica pages with the ad positions there, and then digital impressions kind of bundled with that would be how I would look at it. But I think there's a strong ROI from that side of it too, with a good effort.
Can I ask?
We should sell more. We should sell more to it as well, Jay. We haven't put the effort to selling sponsorships, but I know we could, and we will. Like everybody out there, we've got lots on our plate, and we're trying to work our way through it. And I think the key is that puzzles need to be part of a larger audience effort, right? Understand how to communicate with audience, how to develop audience, how to give audience good content and good interactions. But it's a critical part of that. And anybody out there who's on the fence, to your question, Mike, it doesn't take very many subscription sales just to pay for the puzzles that you're putting out there.
Yeah.
The chat room has another question. How automated is this process, Roland? Is it labor intensive to set up and maintain? Customer service? Roland, go ahead. Give us the quick pitch about implementation again. If someone says, "I want to pull this switch," how hard is it? How many hours or how time intensive is it, sir?
Yeah. So as far as just the implementation of it itself, it's very easy. It's an iframe product. So depending on what your CMS is, whether it's a homegrown version or like a Blocks Digital or Prestelligence, it's very easy to put up. And as Jay and Lee had attested to, it's a pretty turnkey product to implement. And then as far as like maintenance of it, we update it on a daily basis. And so that part is pretty automated as well. So you get the new content. So we designed it to be very turnkey and also to work well for, smaller newspaper publishers and larger ones too, but also particularly to make it easy for some of the community newspapers to be able to implement.
Two questions in chat for Roland here. Number one, can a puzzle strategy work for college news organizations, 18 to 22-year-olds? My kid plays games. I don't know about, she's 21. Roland, advice to someone with a young audience, and can this be a good strategy to implement?
I think what's interesting is that increasingly you're seeing younger audience pick up on gameplay. I think they initially have played games, like the Candy Crushes of the world, et cetera, but they're moving towards playing traditional crosswords. And it's funny, as we were here having our conversation, I just got a notice from Snap, which said, "Hey, play our new games." Which is just funny that you're seeing the big platforms, the social platforms, the LinkedIns of the world. You see it very prominently pasted in there, and I think that it certainly attests to the fact that a younger audience is interested, and we found that they're interested also in these more traditional games, and I think the reason that these games have continued to be very popular with both the traditional newspaper audience, but also with the younger demographic, is the quality of the editorial. As I had mentioned, Amy on my team, who leads up our editorial for Columns and Puzzles, has worked with some of these editors for decades. And it speaks to the quality of the content itself, the quality of the crosswords, the quality of the Sudoku.
We have another question. This one just went to the panelists, but I want to share it. This is an obvious answer because I know the answer, but do you have any Blocks Digital clients using Kingfisher puzzles? I'm assuming that, what? You do?
I can answer that. We do, and we work very closely with Blocks Digital. They're a partner of ours, and we continue to be more and more integrated with Blocks Digital, and are in ongoing conversations with them about integrating all of our products into Blocks Digital to make it as turnkey as possible.
Laura would like to ask about it being embedded into the e-edition product. Jay, you embedded into your e-edition product with no problem. Roland, I think that would be specific to the product you're using, correct?
Yeah, and let me say that it's the way we do it is we do a PDF page that's graphically designed with embedded links, and then we use the web browser from the e-edition to launch it. So it's not embedded, it's not native to within the application or within the actual PDF reader from Press Reader. It is sort of a linking and external browser solution that we put in place very easily, but that's a little different than a native solution.
I'm going to have Jay contact Laura directly. Jay, make a note. I mean, not Jay, Roland, make a note to contact Laura, please. She's got a lot of questions about using this in the Blocks environment. We've got a good question here from Lynn to everyone, but I want to bring it up. Jay, do you believe that puzzles are over comics, or are they both equally as important to you to have that, what you call customer lifetime value, sir?
Puzzles are better than comics.
Don't think.
You can quote me. They are better repeat visits, stronger engagement time, so longer engagement time with the product. Two important metrics to us.
I know, Lee, you concur as well?
I do, and I think comics are very impersonal, right? Everybody has their favorite comics. But puzzles are more universal, right? Anybody can come in and play a good Sudoku, and maybe I don't offer the comics that somebody wants to read, but I can offer the puzzles that they want to, and they're interactive. To Jay's point, they keep people longer. They create those kinds of consumer interactions that I want to create.
Roland, I assume that you're constantly on the prowl for updated content, new concepts. I mean, Kingfishers is not asleep at the switch. Kingfishers has advanced a lot in the last 100 years with offerings. So if a new puzzle suddenly becomes amazingly popular, you guys would be jumping on that and making sure that the industry has it, correct?
Yeah, and I keep going back to Amy Anderson, who's our editorial director. She's constantly talking to folks that are at the cutting edge of creating new puzzles and games. So we're looking at adding those to the platform. As I'd mentioned before, we have our partner with Puzzmo, who's created a lot of different interactive games, and that's always something that we're turning to as a resource. So definitely looking at, and we're talking to some very interesting partners right now that have either offline games that they're trying to make digital, or digital games that we're taking to print. So that's always a part of what we're thinking about. And just to speak a little bit to the sort of comics versus puzzles and games, I think, you know, it really depends on the context. Certainly what we've found, at least with our partners and also internally at Hearst Newspapers, is that comics are an integral part of the print experience, and that when you're talking about the metrics that Jay was talking about earlier of retention, they're key for subscriber retention. Whenever you mess with anybody's comics, you get the complaints go way up. And then I would say on the digital side for comics, it's a part of it is how we present that on the websites and how we promote it. We have, through our direct-to-consumer product, Comics Kingdom, sort of, and also through our syndicated product, through using the technology from Comics Kingdom, have found a way to present comics that not only improves the user experience for a digital native, but also incorporates new voices. And I think that that's another important thing. It's like we have our traditional comics, which are hits like Arctic Circle and Blondie, etc. But we're bringing new voices in, like Never Been Deader, and talking to new partners every day. And again, that speaks to a younger audience as well.
This incredible white paper that you're going to be sharing with everyone who registered, and we're going to make sure there's a hyperlink for it. Just quickly, what did we miss? What is the value of this? What will I discover? Is it mostly what you covered initially, sir, or is there more information that I want to see in here?
I think that what it does is it really goes in depth into giving examples of best practices and data to support that. So it really shows, you know, examples specifically about, and recommendations, you know, like about the variety of puzzles and games, the number of them to use, how, you know, how to best present the content. And so really, I think if anybody, you know, has any questions about the effectiveness, but also best practices of how to implement it, that white paper is going to be very useful.
There's a special URL that I'm going to throw into the chat room, if I may. It is info.kingfeatures.com/EP. It's now in the chat room, info.kingfeatures.com/EP. Don't put 3 W's in front of it. It doesn't work that way. And that'll get you more information. Am I right, Roland? Final pitch to the audience as we close out our dialogue today.
Yeah, please go there. I think if you found this webinar valuable, you're going to be able to dive deeper and also access the specifics that we talked about. If, in case you forgot a specific statistic that you want to talk about internally, I think it can be very helpful for you.
There we go. A huge thank you to both Jay Horton, president of WEHCO Digital, Lee Batchlet, COO of CherryRoad Media, both good friends of E&P and personal friends, and Roland Hamilton and his entire team at King Features, for giving us a very thoughtful, insightful time together today, but more importantly for help supporting E&P and our mission in supporting local journalism. We appreciate the audience's time as well. Thank you for your participation in chat. Thank you for being part of this dialogue. And more importantly, your inbox will have more information before the day's end, where you can get more information about the data we shared today, the slides Roland shared with the audience, and of course, more information about how you can implement puzzles. Thank you, gentlemen. This has been a very enlightening, fun session. We really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.